the numbers. So though there appears to be a difference linking religiosity and sympathy for attacks on civilians among the residents of the U.S. and Canada, this difference is not statistically significant. So I don't want to overemphasize this because it's not statistically significant. But the one place where they did find a connection between religion and deliberately targeting civilians was the U.S. and Canada. So, but again, don't overfocus on it because it was a small difference. Okay, finally, as you see here, there are a lot of surprising results, and it's not an easy issue to tackle. Development's a big part of the exercise here, as you see, part of the answer of getting it right, stability for countries, but it's not always the case. The U.S. and New Zealand and Israel are relatively stable, but yet they believe that the military killing civilians is not that bad. So there are other issues to address. Why does Singapore feel that way? It's an important thing to look at. Why are Egypt and Lebanon relatively poor, but think that targeting civilians on purpose are terrible? Huge scores in that direction. So let's dive in more, but I will leave you with one further stat today to give you a sense of, unfortunately, where our country has gone wrong. And this is what Noam Chomsky says. Look, the reason he focuses on the United States is because he's a U.S. citizen. Theoretically, in our democracy, there's something we can do about our own country. So keep this in mind. The Gallup poll says residents of the U.S. and Canada are most likely to say that military attacks against civilians are sometimes justified. Americans are the most likely population in the world, 49%, to believe military attacks targeting civilians is sometimes justified, followed by the residents of Haiti and Israel. Now, my personal opinion is that deliberate targeted attacks against civilians are never justified. They're not justified when a non-state actor does it, an individual. They're not justified when a state actor, a military, does it. You do not target civilians because that is not who you're fighting. It is both counterproductive and deeply immoral. I would hope that the rest of the world comes to that opinion. It looks like there's a lot of work to do across the world on that opinion. But we've got to start here at home because this is our country, and it turns out we unfortunately believe that more than almost anyone in the world. Young Turks. All right, back on our Young Turks. Now, remember the students at the University of Missouri did a strike to protest what they viewed as racial insensitivities on campus. And I don't just mean like, oh, somebody was a little insensitive to me. No, they yelled the N-word at them and intimidate them and threaten them. So they took that very seriously. One of the students went on a hunger strike, and then the football team joined in, and the coaches supported that. And so when the football team went on strike, well, that wound up having a huge effect. This is America, after all. And some of the administrators, top administrators, stepped down because they did not handle it properly. Well, it turns out the Missouri legislature does not like that. They thought it was all handled poorly. So they explained that they introduced a bill, and here's what the Associated Press says. The bill Republican Representative Rick Bratton proposed last week in the Missouri House would strip scholarships from any athlete who calls, incites, supports, or participates in any strike. Colleges and universities would be required to find coaching staff who encourage or enable such student protests. In other words, bow your head, know your role. We brought you here to play sports. You go around trying to have political opinions, and we will strike you down. Now, co-sponsor Representative Kurt Barr said his goal in supporting the bill is to show that some state lawmakers don't approve of how University of Missouri administrators handle student unrest. Barr said he hopes it fosters discussion between the legislature and university leadership. Now, you might think, wait, that's a little hopeful. Maybe they mean, hey, we didn't like the way that you handled that issue because obviously the black students felt intimidated, and you need to provide a place where they could feel at home at the University of Missouri. That's a good one. I already told you he was a Republican. No, he doesn't mean that at all. He means the opposite. You should have never listened to those students. Who cares if they felt harassed and intimidated in their own university? They say, and he says specifically, we, the General Assembly, expect the leadership of the state institution to actually lead and not allow the students to call the shots. By the way, Republican budget leaders have said state funding for the university also will be under greater scrutiny in the upcoming legislative session that begins January 6th. In other words, if you dare listen to the students again, even if they're being called an N-word, threatened, harassed, well, it's going to have consequences. We'll possibly take the university's money away, and if the students ever raise their heads again, we'll take their scholarship money away and say, that's it, you don't get an education. Know your role. We brought you here to perform physical acts for us, and don't try to do anything else, like have an opinion. Thank you, Missouri Legislature. We really appreciate it. It's very thoughtful of you. Jesus Christ. Okay, all right. Now, let's go on to good news. Nancy Allen is a librarian. She's Christian. In fact, she's deeply Christian, goes to church all the time. She works at the Faulkner County Library. She's in Conway in Arkansas. And she's not at all Muslim, but she decided, you know what? I feel like Muslims are getting picked on too much in this country, and I'm going to stand up for them. And in order to have solidarity with them, I'm going to order a hijab, and then I'm going to wear it. I'm going to wear it all the time at the library. Wow, that's amazing. Okay, now let's go to a local news report here to get a little bit more from her.
I'm not usually a big statement maker, but I was moved in a negative way by all the xenophobic comments that are coming down the pike. My goal is to support American Muslim women who may be facing fear, discourtesy, discrimination, and to support freedom of religious expression. But something like, first they came for the Jews and I didn't say anything. And then they came for the gypsies and I didn't say anything. And then they came for the Catholics and I didn't say anything. And then they came for me and there was nobody left to speak up.
Oh, how much do I love Nancy Allen. That's courage. And that's decency when no one asked you to do it. She stepped up and was decent because that's what they taught her to be as a good Christian. So I'm agnostic. I often get frustrated by the religions, but at the same time, I always say, don't ever generalize. Some of the best people in the world are deeply religious, and we've talked about it in the past. Great nuns fighting against nuclear power in this country and across the world. Martin Luther King Jr., a person I look up to most in the world. And yes, there are great mullahs and obviously rabbis and all across the world that fight for the poor, the needy. And KATV here in Arkansas, Channel 7 did a great report here. I want to give them credit for it and finding her and highlighting her. I actually found out about it through one of our viewers who tweeted at me, and I think his friend is related to her. And I love to see people doing the decent thing across the country. So next time you get frustrated religious people, remember Nancy Allen, and remember this is her interpretation of her Christianity, how to be decent to other people. And by the way, she says, yes, there are detractors, but they largely remain polite and silent. But she said when she went to church in her hijab, a great number of people came up and hugged her and thanked her for what she was doing. That's the America I know and love. Let's be more like that. Okay, now, one more good story for you guys. But I'm going to need your help on this one. I need you to help me here. Here comes the Wolfpack Cavalry. Now, we've been fighting across the country. I've been telling you about some of our wins and how we got people running scared that love money in politics because they know we're coming to take it out. And believe me, man, there is a counterattack coming. The empire is in the middle of striking back. I'll tell you more about that as things unfold, but the beast arises. And not just on the right, but on the left as well. The establishment doesn't really like change. They like things to stay exactly as they are. And when they see us, you know what they see? The reason they're attacking us? They see real change. And they don't like that. They're like, whoa, wait, what are you doing? It looks like you guys are going to change things. Exactly. You got that right, my friend. So what I want you guys to do is to help us in this holiday season in actually getting us that cavalry. Now, you know we have precious little people that we can employ. You guys helped us hire Allison recently, who was our state leader in California. Thank you so much for doing that. We're up to about 3.5 people that are full-time. Everybody else is volunteers, warriors. Well, I've been telling you about those warriors. Now, I want to take some of those warriors and hire them full-time so we can charge. So I'm going to tell you about some of them right now, and the guys we're looking forward to having you guys help us with. And by the way, let me tell you right up front, if you become a member, you wind up helping us hire these guys. That's the whole point of this. So even if you can't volunteer, even if you can't spend your Saturdays or your off time, or you can't make those phone calls, there is something you could do. So to go to wolf-pack.com/new year. Okay, so our goal for the new year is 500 new members. If we get to 500 new members, we get to hire all these people. So who are they? One is Jay Swearingen. He's been going across the Midwest, fighting the good fight, trying to convince state legislators. He used to be not only a state legislator himself, but he is former executive director of the Innocence Project, which gets innocent people off of death row. Now, with a name like Swearingen, obviously he needs a nickname, and that nickname is the most obvious one in the world, Deadwood. So we got to get Deadwood on our team. Let's go get him. Okay, the more members there are, the more of these guys we can hire. Now, the second guy is a guy you're also looking at right there, Richard Diesel Lake. Now, he is the leader of the Mountain Army in Illinois. Illinois, we've already put on the map, largely thanks to Diesel and the great Mountain Army he has there. I've told you about some of the people there. Doc Daniels, we got a former Marine in Kit. We've got Murray the Merciless. We got a great crew there. But Diesel is the leader of that crew. It'd be great to have him on full-time. wolf-pack.com/new year. Let's get to 500. I know. You know what people are going to say? You can't get 500 new members paying you. By the way, okay, there's a cavalry of a different sort. I've got a donor who says, hey, you know what? An actual good guy donor. He says he will match the first $10,000. You guys put in $10,000, become a continuing supporter of Wolfpack, become a member, he'll match that. So every dollar you give for the first $10,000, you're giving $2 thanks to that guy. So there are people who believe, and the more of you guys join, the more they believe, and the stronger we all grow together. One last group of guys that I want to tell you about. It's the Liberati Group. They're a group of social media, basically, honestly, geniuses that helped start Occupy Wall Street. Now they're coming on board to help us. Social media used to be just 5% of our traffic. It's now 30% of our traffic, and we want to drive that up higher and higher so that more people can hear about Wolfpack, more people can join, more people can become volunteers and then warriors, and then eventually become part of the cavalry that you're helping to hire. So let's get these guys on board. Let's get the Occupy Wall Street guys that know exactly how to get a lot of attention on our team. Let's get Diesel. Let's get Deadwood. Let's go. So wolf-pack.com/new year. One last thing, I don't know if this is going to be an incentive or a disincentive for you guys, but everybody who becomes a member in December will get a signed Christmas card from me with a picture of me. There's some chance that I've just ruined everything. But if you're interested in that, I'm going to send you that too. A holiday card, whatever card you want to call it. But it's a perfect time to get together and say, you know what? Here's the Christmas gift we're going to get for the country. Democracy. wolf-pack.com/new year. Let's get to 500. Let's go get them. Young Turks. All right, welcome back to the Young Turks. Okay, so a couple of things. Number one, we've got the debate later tonight. Oh, it's on Fire Talk tonight. Okay, you guys got to know that. So firetalk.com/the Young Turks. It's going to be me, Jimmy, Ben, and Sprinkles.